hearing, rightly so.
Good evening and welcome to live coverage of the Fine Gael Ordesh, which has been taking place at University of Galway. You join us in the Bailey Allen Hall, where delegates are awaiting the arrival on stage of Simon Harris, Fine Gael's new party leader. At the podium is current EU Commissioner and former MEP, Mairead McGuinness.
She's running with Maria Walsh. But more on that anon. But I want to recall one moment, and this was when Simon delivered a powerful and thought-provoking speech at the Collins Griffith commemoration in Glasnevin Cemetery last year. And I want to quote Simon Harris himself. He said, "This generation must and will step up, be bold in its leadership, its vision, and its policy to build a country that works for all who call it home." Simon Harris will do that. Delegates, colleagues, I give you the leader of Fine Gael and soon to be the Taoiseach of this great country, Simon Harris.
Simon Harris making his way to the stage and shaking hands with the party faithful. Little did he know that he would be addressing the Ordesh as leader of Fine Gael. It's less than 3 weeks since Leo Varadkar announced his intention to step down from the role. Simon Harris is set to be elected Taoiseach when the Dáil returns on Tuesday. At 37, he'll be the youngest person to ever hold the office in the history of the state. A warm embrace there for Simon Harris from current Taoiseach Leo Varadkar.
Good evening. Good evening. Well, thank you so much. Agwina Ushla, a Corja, Ihawa, a Gwib Galer, agus Fáilte go Gaillimh. I'm deeply honoured to be here this evening. Deeply honoured and so proud to address you in Ulscoil na Gaillimh as I prepare to take on the greatest challenge of my life. I want to start by paying tribute to our Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Leo, for guiding us through the major challenges of our time, Brexit and the COVID pandemic. To paraphrase your own words in that unforgettable St. Patrick's Day broadcast, in years to come, they will say of you, when things were at their worst, you were at your best. And tonight we say thank you. Thank you. Friends, Fine Gael is a family. And as a family, we mourn together when we lose loved ones. I'm especially thinking this evening of our former leader and Taoiseach, John Bruton. John was a true patriot who advanced the cause of peace and reconciliation and who helped rescue our economy. He epitomised all that is good about Fine Gael, and tonight we miss and we remember John. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my vision for this great party. I'm a proud Wicklow man. I'm the eldest of 3. My mother worked hard as a special needs assistant, and my father as a taxi driver. I'm a husband and a father. Kiva and I are the proud parents of 2 young children. Everything I do will be grounded in the values my parents raised me with: hard work, compassion, and a desire to help those who need it the most. And everything I do will be with the ambition to create a better Ireland, not just for Saoirse and Cillian, but for all of our children in this country. My story began when my younger brother Adam was diagnosed with autism, and I began to campaign for better information and better services. I quickly learned that very many families were feeling like ours, alone. This was the formative experience of my life, and it led me to Fine Gael for two reasons. Firstly, because the great Enda Kenny inspired me to believe that politics was a way to help change things for the better. And secondly, because of Fine Gael's fundamental values: hope, enterprise, equality of opportunity, integrity, security. That is the Fine Gael I intend to lead with a new energy, and a Fine Gael that protects the economy, because you cannot deliver the services that matter to people without a strong economic foundation. But it is now time to convert that economic success into real and tangible improvements for all of our people. Every street, every small shop, every farm, every cafe, every small business, home and community. Ladies and gentlemen, next week I will be nominated for election as Taoiseach. If given this great honour, I will take office when time is short, but there is so much to do. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight I promise you this: we're going to hit the ground running. Because we have to. I will stand by our values as a party and our vision as a nation: a tolerant, inclusive and outward-looking society which is fair, caring and secure. But I'm going to match that vision with action, and nowhere will this be more evident than in the delivery of housing. I'm of a generation where home ownership can feel out of the reach of many. To young people, tonight I want you to know your future is here in Ireland, in this country. And to the parents of Ireland, I want you to know we will move mountains to get your children out of the box room and into a home of their own. Because we have to and we must fix housing for once and for all. Under Fine Gael, the number of homes being built has increased sixfold. The number of social homes has increased more than tenfold. But we need more homes and we need more home ownership. We will build 250,000 homes together over the next 5 years. We'll build more starter homes for our young people to buy. The waiver on development levies is working. It's making it cheaper to build and cheaper to buy, and I want to work with colleagues in government to see if it can now be extended. And we need more student housing so that students don't find themselves competing with young families for a place to rent. Under my leadership, we'll build more student accommodation, including here in this city of Galway, and we'll kickstart that with an additional 1,200 student beds in Dublin. Fine Gael is the party that proudly introduced the Help to Buy scheme. It has now helped 45,000 families, including 2,000 here in Galway, buy their first home. Under my leadership, this party will work to extend the Help to Buy scheme for a further 5 years. And for those renting, we want to do more. We know the renters' tax credit is helping, and we want to work to increase it to over €1,000, because this will put money back in your pocket and it will make it easier for young people to set aside some money to save for their mortgage. We're going to grow our construction labour force, because talk doesn't build houses. Every single action we take will be to increase supply and stop families falling into homelessness. Tonight, my friends, I also want to speak to small business owners. You're at the heart of our communities. You fuel our local economies. You provide good quality, stable jobs. Fine Gael will back you and back your small business. And let's be honest, I know you're hurting, and I understand how hard it is to absorb increased costs, especially when it seems like everything is coming at you at once. That's why we're rolling out €250 million to help 143,000 small businesses across Ireland meet those increased costs. We've reduced the paperwork and the bureaucracy so businesses can get that grant into your bank account as quickly as possible. This is an essential cash injection. But I know that more is needed. I've heard loudly and clearly the concerns of businesses about the pace of change, and I've heard the motions passed by delegates here today. Under my leadership, Fine Gael will work with colleagues to introduce a package to support businesses to make sure small and family businesses can thrive and prosper in this country. I've been engaging with the farming community, as I do regularly across County Wicklow. Fine Gael is the party of farmers, fishermen and women and rural Ireland. Yep. And friends, as we know and they know, it has been a brutal year for farmers because the weather has been awful. You need help and we will respond. Under my leadership, I look at practical supports to help the farming community, because agriculture is a vital part of the Irish economy. Your work needs to be rewarded, respected and valued. Fine Gael has held 15 meetings right across this country with farmers. We've listened. We now need to turn that listening into action. I've asked our agriculture group to come forward with a plan for me within 6 weeks on what we've heard and how we intend to act on issues like succession, retirement and other worries and stresses facing the farming community. We are living through a climate emergency, but I want to say to farmers and to rural Ireland, Fine Gael will never talk down to you on climate action. Instead, we'll sit down and we'll work with you and we'll work for you. We won't lecture you, because I want to engage in a new partnership on agriculture where farmers are central to the changes that we're making. For example, I want to implement the agri-environment strategies, like the biomethane strategy, so that farmers can earn a good income while protecting our environment. And I'll work with you and I'll support you so that together we retain Ireland's nitrates derogation, which is necessary for our agri-food sector. And while I may be leaving my current department, I'll be making sure that we establish new vet schools in rural Ireland as well. So let me say this to the people of rural Ireland. Fine Gael has got your back. We're the party that established the Department of Rural and Community Development. We've invested more money than ever before under the likes of our finest Michael Ring and Heather Humphreys. I know we can do better. There he is. We're going to... Well done. Come on, Michael. I also know this, though. I know there are many families watching tonight struggling with the cost of living. And we've worked to help through a range of measures: reducing tax, reducing college fees, free school books, reducing public transport costs, energy credits, free GP care. And we've done all of this because of the prudent management of our public finances by the brilliant Paschal Donoghue. We live in an Ireland where anyone who needs a job has one, where incomes are rising, where there's record levels of investment, where we've established a fund to protect future generations. But we want to do more to help families here and now. I believe it's unfair that people on an average wage have to pay the higher rate of income tax. So tonight I restate our ambition that nobody earning below €50,000 should pay the higher rate of income tax in Ireland. And we'll continue to work to reduce the burden of the USC on low and middle income earners. Later this year, our party will outline a 5-year tax strategy to protect the tax base, but also to help put money in people's pockets. But I know this: tax isn't the only way to help reduce the cost of living. That's why we reduced the cost of childcare with a further 25% reduction in September. We'll now fast-track legislation to extend childcare supports to childminding in the home. Hot school meals will be extended to 150,000 more children and 900 more primary schools. We'll increase the carers allowance disregard so that thousands more carers will qualify for support. And this party will always be the party that will stand up for older people. We've increased the old age pension over the past 3 budgets, and every single year Fine Gael is in government, we will do more for our older citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our party's core values is equality of opportunity. An Ireland where every child has the same start in life, where it doesn't matter who your parents are or what they do, whether you live in urban Ireland or rural Ireland, an Ireland where every child can reach their full potential. To do this, I believe we can and must break down barriers to education. Imposing costs on accessing education can lock people out of full participation in society. I've worked tirelessly over 3 years to cut college fees because nothing should stop a person reaching their full potential. We've also sought to change and reform the Leaving Cert and end this national obsession with the narrow Leaving Cert points race that places far too much stress on our young people. Under my leadership, Fine Gael will continue to work to break down the barriers to education. We'll reduce the cost of education, but not in a way that impacts on the delivery of services. We'll improve access to childcare facilities, because there's no point reducing the cost if you can't get a place. And we'll build more apprenticeship facilities and start treating the trades and apprentices with the respect in this country that they require and deserve. Colleagues, to people with disabilities watching here tonight, I want to talk to you directly. Under my leadership, your voice will be heard. I will establish and personally chair a Cabinet committee to break down silos and make positive change happen more quickly. The backlog in assessments of needs has to be unblocked once and for all. We've made progress on special education and provided it the biggest budget ever. We've introduced college courses for students with intellectual disabilities, but we have so much more to do. And this year, we will ratify the optional protocol to the UN Convention for the Rights of People with a Disability. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, over the past 8 years, there has been an unprecedented investment in our health service. The budget has actually doubled. We have the best people working in our health service, and I thank each and every one of them. This year, the focus must be on improving access, opening more beds, more operating theatres, and ensuring we train and recruit more GPs, more consultants, more nurses, more therapists than ever before. We have a plan to deliver 1,500 more beds and recruit more staff. And I also want to work with government colleagues to introduce the mental health bill and reform mental health services, because this is one of the greatest challenges we face. I also want to change how we care for older people in this country. And a commission on care has now been established. And as Taoiseach, I will work to support that wholeheartedly. Fine Gael's other core value is security. This party, Fine Gael, will always stand for law and order. We stand for more Gardaí, with more powers and more resources to make our streets safe. We stand for tougher sentences for those who commit horrific crimes. We will fast-track legislation to give judges new power to make sure heinous criminals serve long sentences before they can ever even be considered for release. And under my leadership, we will continue to increase prison capacity so that the prison service can respond. This is the party that proudly established the Criminal Assets Bureau. This year, we'll give them more powers to strip criminals of assets more quickly. This summer, we'll bring in body cameras and up-to-date technology to help and support the Gardaí. This year, we'll bring forward new measures to increase penalties for knife crime and new measures on antisocial behaviour, which has become too dominant in our communities. Children are being groomed into a life of crime through the scourge of drugs affecting our communities. We know that crime breeds violence, coercion and devastation. Last November, we witnessed thugs and criminals set fire to our capital city. They destroyed businesses, they destroyed Garda cars without a care in the world. As your next Taoiseach, I will immediately convene a Dublin City Centre task force and bring together the council, the retailers, the business, the community groups, the Gardaí to chart a path towards a safer and vibrant Dublin, because it's time we have pride again in our capital city. And we'll also, friends, do more to support and resource our defence forces beyond Óglaigh na hÉireann. Tonight, I want to talk to you about immigration. This is still a relatively new reality for Ireland and Irish people. We were a country of emigration, and our country has in many ways been shaped by that. But people are now coming to this country in search of that better life. But we have to better manage migration. We need a fair and a firm system. We cannot work in isolation. We need to work with our EU partners to plan better. That's why we will sign up to the biggest overhaul of migration rules in decades. This will result in a firmer system. It will ensure those who need our help get it, but it will also ensure that those who are not entitled to come to this country get a decision more quickly and, quite frankly, leave more quickly as well. We need to move away from the emergency use of hotels for housing asylum seekers, and I believe we now have that plan. But implementation will be key. And engagement with community is essential, and leadership across government. We need to listen to people. Irish people want to play their part. Irish people want to help. They already are. And Ireland stands shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine because we know war is a darkness that threatens all of our democracies and all of our European values. It has posed real challenges for this country. Taking in families fleeing the war has brought significant pressures, but it is the right thing to do, and Ireland, as a proud and committed member of the European Union, will always stand with the people of Ukraine. In Gaza, we see a humanitarian catastrophe worsen before our eyes. We absolutely, fully condemn the massacre carried out by Hamas in October, and again we call for the unconditional release of all of the hostages. But we cannot and we will not stay silent on the actions of the Israeli government either. Because, ladies and gentlemen, reason has been replaced by revenge, by bombing, by maiming, and by the death of children. Famine, a spectre no Irish person can bear, and anyone who can countenance deliberate starvation has lost their sense of humanity. Prime Minister Netanyahu, let me say this to you this evening. The Irish people could not be clearer. We are repulsed by your actions. Ceasefire now and let the aid flow safely. My friends, we need a two-state solution, with Israel and Palestine living side by side in peace and security. And tonight from Galway, I reiterate that Ireland stands ready to recognise the State of Palestine. And we know what we're talking about in this country. This island has one of the most successful peace processes on earth. When it came under threat from Brexit, Fine Gael stood firm for Ireland and firm for peace. We need to protect and build on that shared project. Peaceful cooperation on our island is precious. I'll be attending the North-South Ministerial Council with the Northern Ireland Executive in Armagh on Monday. It's the first time we've been able to do this in person in 4 years. I am determined to work together on a North-South and East-West basis to improve the lives of everyone across these islands. We've got to do that together. And colleagues, friends, in just over 60 days, the people of Ireland will go to the polls in the local and European elections, just in case you're wondering. And to you at home, I want to directly ask for your trust. I want to ask for your support, and I want to ask for your vote. The choice facing our country is the starkest it's faced in generations. It's a choice between opportunity and outright opportunism. Sinn Féin promises change. What they mean is they'll change their mind at every chance. Because they're a party which promises utopia, but specialises in U-turns. They're a party which exploits every challenge for their own gain. That's how they approach a challenge. How can we get gain out of this? They're a party that pretends to support home ownership, but proposes abolishing every housing support we ever offer. They're a party which promises to fix the health service, this one confuses me, with less money than the government has provided. And they're a party that claims to be on the side of the Gardaí, but honours their killers and collects them from the prison gates. So tonight, with every fibre of my being, I promise, if you give your vote and support to Fine Gael, we'll work day and night to help make your life better. We'll have your back, we'll repay your trust, and together, I promise, we will deliver with a new energy. Now let's get to work. Bala year and over Gurmia Mahagav Makarja.
Standing ovation there for Simon Harris following his first address as party leader at the Fine Gael Ordesh. He'll join the Week in Politics at noon tomorrow, and he'll also be interviewed on This Week on RT Radio 1 tomorrow at 1. That's all from our coverage at the Fine Gael Party Conference at the University of Galway. From a wet and windy west of Ireland, good evening.